Hi, in this video we're going to take a look at how to construct an arbitrage portfolio with a mispriced forward rate. So from the previous video we have established a relationship between the spot rates and the forward rates. So this equation or this relationship must hold, otherwise there will be opportunities for arbitrage. Okay, so we'll use some different numbers here. So let's suppose the R1 here, which is the 1 year spot rate, is 2%, R2 is 4%. Now we're given a forward rate from year 1 to year 2 at 8%. Okay, so we will first check if this forward price is fairly given or if it's mispriced or not. So let's try to use this equation to check if 8% is the fairly priced forward rate. Okay, let's just plug in the numbers. So the first step would be 1 plus 2%. Okay, and that's the 1 year spot rate multiplied by 1 plus the, let's call it F star here, from year 1 to year 2, also to the power of 1. That should equal 1 plus 4% to the power of 2. Okay, and again, try not to forget this thing here. Right? So if we plug in the numbers, we should get the actual or the fairly priced forward rate to be around 6%. So we are given a forward rate that is too high compared to the fairly priced forward rate, which is 6%. So what could we do to construct an arbitrage portfolio? Now we know that this side of the equation is a lot higher than the other side, right? Because 8% here, if you plug in this thing here, you will get a greater number on the left-hand side compared to the right-hand side if you use 4% here and 2% here. Okay, so which means if we do this side of things, we're going to get a higher return compared to the right-hand side, but they should be the same if we use this equation here. So this provides us with the opportunity of arbitrage. So whenever we have arbitrage, we always want to have zero hash flow at time 0, and then we have something positive in the future for certain. Or the other way around, we have something positive at time 0, but we don't have to pay anything or get anything in the future. So that's called arbitrage. So just a bit of a reminder here. Okay, so since this left-hand side provides us with higher return, let's just do what this side tells us to do. And we'll do the opposite of the right-hand side. Okay, so these will offset, but due to the left-hand side giving me the higher return, I get a positive return in the future. Okay, so let's translate these into actual operations. Okay, so to do the left-hand side, we'll follow these instructions. So what do we get, or what should we do to get this? We will save for 1 year, right? And then we will also enter the forward contract by committing to save in 1 year's time at 8%, which is something provided here. Okay, so we'll first save for 1 year, okay, and then enter the forward contract as well. But where do we get this money? We can just borrow them, right? Because we need to do the opposite of the right-hand side. The right-hand side tells us to save for 2 years here, but we're not doing that because it's mispriced currently. So it's very cheap compared to the left-hand side. So we're just going to borrow the cheaper side here. Okay, so let's borrow for 2 years. Okay, so we weren't given any actual monetary numbers, so we can just assume any number here. Okay, so let's say 1 million. Let's borrow 1 million here. Okay, and then we'll save 1 million here. Right? So at time 0, our net cash flow is still 0. Right? And then in 1 year's time, I can take the money out from my savings for the 1 year spot rate here. So how much would I get? I would get 1 million times 1.02. So I would get 1.02 million here. Since I'm also entering the forward contract here, so I will also save this at 8%, right? So in 2 years' time, what would this be? Okay, so that will be 1.02 times 1.08. So this should give me a positive cash flow of 1.1016 million at the end of year 2. But then I have to pay back what I have borrowed here, which is the 1 million here, right? So in 2 years' time, how much is that going to be? That's 1.04 to the power of 2. So I should pay back here minus 1.0816 million. Okay, so now we can see we have made a positive profit of 0.02 million. Okay, and that is our arbitrage portfolio. So let's just sum it up. Okay, since I know that this equation has been violated because of this forward rate, then I'm just going to follow whichever side gives me the higher return here. So in this case, this side, the left-hand side, will provide me with a higher return. Yeah, and the right-hand side is cheaper. So let's do the opposite of the cheaper one and follow whatever's higher, right? So to follow this one, we're going to save for 1 year and enter the forward contract from year 1 to year 2. And where do we get this money from? We can just borrow at the cheaper rate here. Okay, so that is how we construct the arbitrage portfolio. Okay, so we can have 0 cash flow at time 0, 0 cash flow at time 1, but at the end of all of these maturities, or at the end of all your contracts or savings or lendings, and then we will get a positive inflow of cash, which in this case is 0.02 million. And it's risk-free, it's for certain, and that is why we know we have successfully constructed an arbitrage portfolio. Okay, so in your own time, in your free time, you could you can consider, or you can change these numbers a little bit. So what if it's not 8%, but something that is less than 6%? So if it's too cheap for the forward rate, let's say 4% or 3%, okay, then how should we construct a new arbitrage portfolio? So we would do the right-hand side and do the opposite of the left-hand side, okay? So in other ways, we can say we will go long on the right-hand side and we'll go short on the left-hand side, and still we will reap what is left of the profit here, okay? So this should provide you with the guidance on how to construct an arbitrage portfolio with mispriced forward rates. And I'll see you in the next video.